Good morning, Youngstown. This is a great day, full of merry majesty and wistful wonder. This day has been waiting for you. It has been waiting especially for you, to embrace you, to guide you. This is the day we have been given. Let's not waste it. To welcome the holiday season on this, the first day of December, first, a reading from our gray hymnal number 615, The Work of Christmas by Howard Thurman. I'm going to read it. You don't have to open up your hymnals. When the song of angels is stilled, when the star in the sky is gone, when the kings and princes are home, when the shepherds are back with their flock, the work of Christmas begins, to find the lost, to heal the broken, to feed the hungry, to release the prisoner, to rebuild the nations, to bring peace among the brothers, to make music in the heart. Now please stand as you are willing or able and join us in singing our first hymn in the gray hymnal, number 235, Deck the Halls with Boughs of Holly.
Deck the halls with boughs of holly, fa la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be jolly, fa la 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 la. Don we now our gay apparel, fa la 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 la. Troll the ancient Yuletide carol, fa la 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 la. See the blazing Yule before us, fa la 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 la. Strike the harp and join the chorus, fa la 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 la. Follow me in merry measure, fa la 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 la. Troll the ancient Yuletide treasure, fa la 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 la. Fast away the old year passes, fa la 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 la. Hail the new ye lads and lasses, fa la 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 la. Sing we joyous all together, fa la 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 la. Heedless of the wind and weather, fa la 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 la.
Isn't that a great way to start December? Good morning. My name is Michael Condor. We are so happy you can be here with us today, whether it is here in person, on Zoom, Facebook, or later on YouTube. How joyous it is to be together. Our wonderful minister, Reverend Joseph, is away visiting family for Thanksgiving, so he asked me to share the pulpit today. Reverend Joseph is our called minister at UUYO. As minister, he has built on our church's legacy of community engagement and social justice in Youngstown, Ohio, through service as chaplain for the Youngstown Police Department and clergy caucus chair for Action. Reverend Joseph has a Master's of Divinity from Union Theological Seminary in New York, where he served as a chaplain at Rikers Island Jail and held a prestigious preaching fellowship at the First Unitarian Church of Cleveland, Shaker Heights. We have a couple of announcements today, most of which can be found on the back of your order of service. First, for the month of December, there will be no UU Yoga with Ash due to holiday activities. Tea for Tuesday, December 3rd from 4 to 5 p.m. with Melissa Smith. You can grab a cup of coffee or tea at home, sign into Zoom. Next, our Try to Be Happy Hour and Socializing is going to continue this Wednesday, December 4th from 5 to 7 p.m. And UUYO Bowling Thursdays will happen again on Thursday, December 5th at 6 p.m. Bowling is $5 per person. That's their price, not part of us. Contact Kathleen if you plan to attend, just so that we know who to look out for. And finally, Tim Reardon has an additional announcement.
Thank you. We are working on getting a choir together for our Christmas Eve service. We had several people sign up, and we haven't yet been able to get everybody together and organize it. And I wanted to start right now and tell people, if you signed up, and you people on Zoom right now, if you signed up, we're going to try to rehearse after the Sunday rehearsal next week. I have one piece picked out, and we do have the music. I wasn't able to find it today, but I've got it somewhere, and if not, we'll make copies anyway. So we have one piece. If you have an idea for another piece, bring it. I want other people's ideas. A lot of people have favorite songs that they'd like to do. And so if you're here today, meet up here after the service, and we can talk. Even if it's just one of you, that's fine. We'll talk. Okay? So hopefully we had about 10 people sign up when we had the thing, so we have interest, and we'd like to do some special music for Christmas. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Now I would like to invite Aaron McDivitt to deliver our chalice lighting.
I'm grateful to be here with you all today. When I first started coming to this church, I was fighting against an old identity, an old narrative of who I am, where I come from, and how I live my life. At every solstice and equinox, we were invited to release something we were holding on to, or to invite something new in. Every time I acknowledged letting go of limiting beliefs that keep me stuck. And it seemed like every chalice lighting was a statement of identity. But how can I state definitively who I am becoming when it hasn't quite happened yet? When I don't know what I will choose to become? Spirituality and psychology tell me that we learn who we are in the context of being with others, in the context of relationship. But I really like my solitude. Also, intentionality, spending time away in contemplation, those are necessary parts of the process. I'm still trying to figure out the balance. At any rate, I've heard it said that every interaction is a new opportunity to reinvent yourself. We are who we are in this one moment. I'm grateful for the people that I continue to meet here and the lessons they help me learn. My question for you is, what do you notice happening in these moments here? When do you notice something happening for you, in you? So I'm going to invite you into a little experiment. If we could all take a moment and shift our eyes away from looking up here and redirect your attention inward to the flow of your breath in and out. Let the room fall away a bit. You can soften your gaze just in front of you, or if you choose, close your eyes. Notice any need to stretch or align your posture. And as you settle in, I invite you to call to mind a time when you felt seen, really seen, by someone you felt safe with. What did you notice in that moment? Does an image come to mind? Do you notice something about the other person, or maybe a shift within your body? a relaxation of the chest and shoulders, a sigh, something they said, something in the silence, eye contact or a smile. What made that moment come alive for you? How does it feel in your body when you are fully seen? What about when you recognize parts of yourself in another? What are you learning about yourself in these moments? What does this reflection tell you about how you want to show up with others? And then when you're ready, you can start to bring your awareness away from yourself, back to the feeling of the cushion underneath you, the sights and sounds of the room, the presence of others around you, and the purpose of us meeting together today. We light this chalice in the spirit of community, where we can remain curious about how we choose to be with one another and all the possibilities in between.
We now invite you to take a moment to greet your neighbors, especially those whom you may not know or recognize. And if you're tuning in on Zoom, don't be shy. Say hi to the others in the group chat.
Sure, what do you need?
So now we're going to have our time for all ages. And before I start, I just want to remind everyone, if you're at home with your children, hey, we still have our Harry Potter class going on, and we also have childcare for the very young. So don't forget about that. And this Saturday is going to be our Grinch movie night. Although some people don't like that movie. We're going to do it anyways. But yes, backed by popular demand. So we will be doing that, playing some games, sharing some food, and having a good time and watching the, not Harry Potter. Did I say Harry Potter? The Grinch movie night. And so that's the Grinch with Jim Carrey. So, okay, so today's story had to be condensed because it's very, very long. And it's called The Quilt Maker's Gift, and it was written by Jeff Brumbaugh with illustrations by Gail D. Markin. Okay. Turn. Yeah, let's make sure that you guys can see all the pictures. Yeah, because beautiful, beautiful illustrations. There was once a quilt maker who kept a house in the blue, misty mountains up high. Here and there and wherever the sun warmed the earth, she was seen sewing away day after day. It was said that she made the prettiest quilts anyone had ever seen. The blues seemed to come from the deepest part of the ocean, the whites from the northernmost snows, the greens and purples from the abundant wildflowers, the reds, oranges, and pinks from the most wonderful sunsets. Many people climbed her mountain, pockets bursting with gold, hoping to buy one of the wonderful quilts, but the woman would not sell them. I give my quilts away to those who are poor and homeless, she told all who knocked on her door. They are not for the rich. On the darkest and coldest nights, the woman would make her way down the mountain to the town below, where she would see someone sleeping outside in the cold and take her newly finished quilt from her bag, wrap it around their shivering shoulders, tuck them in tight, and tiptoe away. Then, the very next morning, with a steaming cup of blackberry tea, she would begin a new quilt. Now, at this time, there also lived a very powerful and greedy king who liked nothing better than to receive presents. So greedy was he that a law was passed that the king would celebrate his birthday twice a year. When that still wasn't enough, he ordered his soldiers to search the kingdom for those few people who had not yet given him a gift. Over the years, the king had come to own almost all of the prettiest things in the world. Throughout the castle, the king had so many, many things that he kept a list of all the lists of the things that he owned. And yet, with all these marvelous treasures to enjoy, the king never smiled. He was not happy at all. Somewhere there must be one beautiful thing that will finally make me happy, he was often heard to say, and I will have it. Finding out about the quilt maker and how she gave away beautiful quilts, the king decided he must have one. Even though his soldiers warned him, she only makes them for poor people, Your Majesty, and she will not sell them for any amount of money. But the king would not listen. He took 1,000 of his soldiers with him to go and demand a quilt. I want one of those quilts, the king demanded when he saw the quilt maker. It might be the one thing that will finally make me happy. The woman thought for a moment. Make presents of everything you own, she said, and then I'll make a quilt for you. With each gift that you give, I'll sew in another piece. When at last all your things are gone, your quilt will be finished. Give away all my treasures? Cried the king. Angrily, he had the quilt maker tied up, and then he ordered his soldiers to chain her to a rock in the cave of a sleeping bear. Once more, the king asked for a quilt, and once more she refused. Very well, then, the king replied. I'll leave you here. I'm sure the bear that lives in this cave will make a very fine breakfast of you. Later, when the bear's eyes opened and he saw the woman in his cave, he stood on his mighty hind legs and gave a roar that rattled her bones. She looked up at him and sadly shook her head. You poor thing. You've nothing but rocks on which to rest your head at night. Bring me an armful of pine needles, and with my shawl, I'll make you a great big pillow. And that's what she did. No one had ever been so kind to the bear before, so he broke the iron bracelets and asked her to spend the night. The king, though greedy, was very, very bad at being mean. All that night he could not sleep for thinking about the poor woman in the cave, so he woke up his soldiers, and they all marched in their pajamas up to the cave to save her. But when they arrived, the king found the quilt maker and the bear having breakfast of berries and honey. Now the king completely forgot about feeling sorry and became mean all over again. He ordered the royal island makers to build an island barely big enough for the woman to stand on her tiptoes. Once again, the king asked her for a quilt, and once again she said no. Very well, the king replied. Tonight, when you are too tired to stand and lie down to sleep, you'll drown. And the king left her alone on the tiny island. Shortly after he left, the quilt maker saw a sparrow flying in the cold wind across the great lake. She called to him, and he stopped to rest on her shoulder. The woman quickly made him a coat from scraps of her purple vest. When he was warmed and the wind had stopped, the bird flew off. Soon he returned with thousands of sparrows that swooped down, lifted the woman, and carried her safely to shore. Again, that night, the king could not sleep for thinking about the woman alone on the island. But when he arrived with his soldiers, she was sitting on a tree limb, sewing tiny purple coats for all the sparrows. "I give up," the king shouted. "What must I do for you to give me a quilt?" "As I said," the woman answered, "give away all your things that you own, and I'll sew a quilt for you." "I can't do that," cried the king. "I love all my wonderful, beautiful things. But if they don't make you happy," the woman replied, "what good are they?" Several weeks went by, and the unhappy king finally muttered, "If I must give away my treasures, then I must." The king went to his castle and searched from top to bottom for something he could bear to give away. Frowning, he finally came out with a single marble. But the boy who received it smiled so brightly in return, the king went back for more things. Eventually, he brought out a pile of velvet coats and went about the town, giving them to people dressed only in rags. All were so pleased that they marched up and down the street in a grand parade. Still, the king did not smile. He gave away 100 waltzing blue Siamese cats and a dozen fish that were clear as glass. Then the king ordered his merry-go-round with the real horses to be brought out. Children cried with delight and cartwheeled around him. The king looked about him and saw the dancing and merrymaking and all the happiness his gifts had brought. A child took hold of his hand and pulled him into the dance. Now the king smiled and even laughed out loud. "Bring everything out. Bring it all at once." With each gift that he gave, the quilt maker added another piece to his quilt. The king kept on giving and giving. He went out into the world and found others who might be in need of gifts. Morning, noon, and night, year after year, the wagons rolled out of town, each piled high with the king's wonderful things. On and on the quilt maker worked, and piece by piece the king's quilt grew more and more beautiful. Finally, one day, there was not a single object for the king to give away. So she put a final stitch in the quilt and started down the mountain in search of the king. "Thank you," said the king when he saw her. "But there is one last treasure I have left to give away. All these years I've saved it just for you." And from his rickety rundown wagon, the king brought out the throne. "It's really quite comfortable," the king said, "and just the thing for long days of sewing." From that day on, the king often came to the quilt maker's house in the clouds. By day, the quilt maker sewed the beautiful quilts she would not sell, and at night the king took them down to the town. There he searched out the poor and downhearted, never happier than when he was giving something away. The end. And thank you so much for your help. Okay, so now we are going to recite our covenant. Are there any kids out there? No. Clover, I'm not counting you anymore. Okay, so the covenant can be found in your order of service. Everybody ready? Love is the spirit of this church, and service its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Okay, so we're still going to sing out because Allison and I are going to go to class so she can make a mandrake like they did last week. Okay. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
Hello, how y'all doing? Good. Well, it's time for our offering. And it's good to remind ourselves from time to time that the offering is symbolic as well as practical. We pass the plate during our worship service to make a community expression of thanks for the blessings of abundance and to support our community in a tangible way. This month, our offering goes to the Minister's Discretionary Fund. This fund supports friends, members, and community members in a variety of ways, including assistance with temporary housing, help with bills, and support for programming that benefits the community. Now we will receive the offering that supports the life of our church, the Mahoning Valley, and our wider world. So today we have a reading. It's Mindful Breathing by Shanmugam Chettiar. So the body is there and the mind is elsewhere. You breathe in and out. The mind is unaware. When you're aware of your breath in and out, you would bring your mind home to your body. And when your mind is placed with your body, you would be there truly where you exist, feeling your presence within yourself, which itself is the source of peace and bliss. Now and then, for some time, focus on your mind, on your breathing, with mind traveling along with breath, inhaled and exhaled. With eyes shut, you'll have had mindful breathing. Mindful breathing is an easy exercise that brings about meditation as well. Breathe in and breathe out with the mind set in it, and see how good and how fresh you would feel.
During these next few moments of silent meditation, I encourage you to reflect upon your presence. Be aware of your breath and body. Let yourself become present within your presence.
And now, number 505 by Thich Nhat Hanh. Let us be at peace with our bodies and our minds. Let us return to ourselves and become wholly ourselves. Let us be aware of the source of being, common to all and to all living things. Evoking the presence of great compassion, let us fill our hearts with our own compassion toward ourselves and toward all living things. Let us pray that we ourselves cease to be the cause of suffering to each other. With humility, with awareness of the existence of life and of the suffering that we are going on around us, let us practice the establishment of peace in our hearts and on earth. Amen.
Good morning again, and happy holidays. I love the Christmas season. The pretty lights, the decorations, the cheer in the air, all the sights, sounds, smells, and senses we get only during this wonderfully merry month. But not everybody has this view of the holiday season. As with any holiday, there is trauma, hurt, and heartache in the memory of holidays past. And as we know, the sights, sounds, smells, and senses can drag back those painful memories to experience all over again. This is true even for me. But by practicing mindfulness and being present in the moment, we can change even the most stressful seasonal situations into magical, merry memories. When thinking of Christmas, most people think of presents. Don't lie, I'm sure you are too. Even more, you probably think about the stress of picking the perfect present for the people you love. It's especially difficult when you don't have a lot of money. And I'm sure you've been told before, it's not the gift, but the thought that counts, which I believe a lot of people mistakenly interpret as, it doesn't matter what you give them, just so long as you give them something, so they know you were thinking of them during the holidays. But I don't believe this is what it means at all. Instead, I believe the true meaning of this tired phrase is it doesn't matter how much you spend on a gift, so long as you put thought into it and give them something you believe they truly would love, want, or need. See the distinction? The value of the gift is the thought you put into that person and how well you know them. Without putting in that thought, the gift is just an empty gesture or obligation, like a generic gift from your corporate masters at the company Christmas party. A truly thoughtful gift is mindful of who will receive the present. We are all extremely busy, especially during the holiday season. So the most important thing isn't the gifts, the food, or the decorations, but simply being there with the people you love. The most thoughtful gift you can give is that of your own mindful presence. But you're probably thinking, so what? I'm present. I'm always present. I'm so present that someone says my name, I say present. But the type of presence we're talking about is more than simply existing in a place. Presence, as we're discussing today, is mindfulness in action. To live and truly be in the present moment without judgment or prejudice. Be with your family or your loved ones without thinking about the worries of work or pining over problematic politics. Engage them with loving intention. The worries of the world can wait while you make merry memories. In the words of Thich Nhat Hanh, the most precious gift we can offer anyone is our attention. When mindfulness embraces those we love, they will bloom like flowers. When we aren't mindful in our lives, we rob ourselves of the enjoyment of the present we're given. If you're worried about what happened at last year's Christmas party, how can you enjoy this one? Now you've ruined 2 holiday parties for yourself. So what is mindfulness, and why is it so hard? Mindfulness in general terms is a state of being conscious and aware. Conscious and aware of your body, your feelings, your surroundings, and those around you. Mindfulness is to be in sync, spirit, mind, and body, connected to the earth around you, not a space cowboy. But being connected to your mind and surroundings is also what makes mindfulness so difficult. Life has so many distractions, and our brains are the most distracting things of all, especially to those of us with ADHD. We constantly have worries about our past or anxiety about potential futures, and it distracts us from enjoying or interacting with the present moment. Think of yourself as a meat mech, and your consciousness is the pilot. Our pilot is always flitting about the mech, fixating on our problems or our concerns, constantly on the lookout for dangers and fixing problems. They are overworked and tired. And while the pilot is busy micromanaging, our co-pilot, the subconscious, is forced to engage your life controls. But the subconscious can only imitate what it's learned from the pilot, leaving you feeling disconnected and out of control. But when you bring your consciousness, your pilot, back to the cockpit, they can be present in the decisions being made in the present. And more importantly, they can rest and enjoy the controls. When our pilot is at the controls, when we are fully engaged, aware and conscious, we are mindfully present. Mindful presence comes easily to us as children. When young, you had very little past to reflect on and nothing but boundless unforeseeable future. So there was nothing more important than the now. Nothing was more important than learning the controls of your meat mech and interacting with the world around you. When we're constantly reminiscing or regretting the past and planning or pining for the future, we're missing out on playing with the present that we've been given. The Buddha once said, "Be where you are, otherwise you will miss your life." It's important to be mindful. Mindfulness leads us to be more present and connected to the world around us. It can also be tied to improving mental health, increased focus and attention, and improving your relationships. There have been so many times in my life where I didn't allow myself to be truly present, and because of that, I have not been able to enjoy the moment, and I missed out on joy, or worse, caused unintended pain. Okay, story time. When I was 5 years old, all I wanted for Christmas was an action figure of the Riddler from Batman Forever. I had always gotten Batman for Christmas or my birthday, so I had like 10 Batmen, but yet no one for him to fight. So I was so excited that Christmas Eve when I unwrapped a dual pack of the Riddler and Two-Face from the movie that I loved so much. I was filled with so much glee and excitement that when my mom asked me what I got, as if she didn't know, I got lost in the moment and I emphatically replied, "Stupid bad guys!" The whole house froze. Mom was furious. She couldn't recognize my glee. She was blinded by anger. I didn't know what I did wrong. I did not have the presence of awareness to realize my comment had brought up an old conversation we had about a different Riddler action figure I had pointed out in the past, leading her to believe that I was ungrateful rather than excited. I'm sure her mental illness also played a role. As a conservative Christian rural family in the 90s, it was taboo to even suggest that someone might need psychiatric help or medication to act human with a child at Christmas. Fine! If that's not good enough, maybe nobody gets Christmas this year! And with a whirlwind of fury, she took to gathering up all the presents, ripping down decorations, and haphazardly throwing things into storage bins, all the while cursing under her breath and periodically screaming that we're all selfish and ungrateful. Meanwhile, I just cried. What else could I do? I was 5. My dad was the hero, first managing to quell my mother's rage long enough to get her to stop yelling and take a break from stealing Christmas like some green monster. and then to stop my tears long enough to explain to me why Mom was angry. He then told me I just had to ask her how I could fix it, and it would be all better. When I asked my mother what I could do, she scoldingly stated, "You don't understand the true meaning of Christmas. You're so wrapped up in all the Christmas stuff, you don't even know what it's about." I chuckled. I may not have understood everything about Christmas, but I seemed to understand puns better than my mother, who hadn't noticed hers. This angered her further. "You're gonna watch How the Grinch Stole Christmas," the 1966 version, "and when it's over, you're gonna tell me what Christmas is all about, and if you get it wrong, nobody gets Christmas this year." My mother also apparently didn't understand irony either. So now, I have Christmas homework. And if I don't get it right, I ruin Christmas for everyone. That's a lot of pressure for a 5-year-old. Thank God I was an advanced enough child to understand metaphors. When it was over and she came to quiz me, I said, "It's not about the presents, the decorations, or the tree. It's about the time we spend together." She looked into my tired eyes and said, "You're wrong!" And she went back to ruining Christmas. I got another chance early Christmas morning before breakfast to watch it again and get the answer right before everyone's holiday was officially ruined. My dad, thankfully, saw how distraught I was while he was cooking breakfast, and he coaxed me to the answer my mother wanted, which essentially amounted to, "Christ is the reason for the season." How is a 5-year-old supposed to get that from How the Grinch Stole Christmas? What kind of ridiculous riddle is that for a child? But she accepted that answer, and Christmas was saved, sort of. The gifts were returned and opened. The food was the same, but the tree and decorations were disheveled, evidence of my mother's rampage, and I blamed myself. My mother didn't have the presence of mind to realize the long-lasting harm she was doing to her children, or the irreparable damage she was causing to her marriage or other relationships. She could have ruined Christmas for me forever, but I have had the mindful presence to not allow her to steal that joy. My dad had the mindful presence to keep a cool head and salvage the holiday for his family, but not the presence of mind to see the underlying problems with the whole situation and remedy it. None of us are perfect, but we must constantly aim to be better than we once were. It would take them years of denial, then medication and therapy, to begin to fix the underlying problem. Although being mindful of yourself and your feelings is important, it is only the first step to being mindfully present. You must also be mindful of those around you. As I mentioned in the beginning, not everyone is happy and cheerful this time of year. My mother was probably already stressed out about preparations and how much money she had just spent on the holiday for her 4 children. This is not an excuse, just an explanation. Some of us, most of us, are carrying some hidden pain. Being mindful means being mindful of other people and their hidden worlds. But by being mindfully present and by engaging with loving kindness, you may be able to learn what they truly need. Maybe it's a joke or a jovial time to brighten their mood, but maybe it's a shoulder to cry on, an empathetic ear, or just a patient presence to help them feel connected. I was feeling lost, alone, and as though I had ruined Christmas. Yet my dad was there to comfort and guide me through my mother's riddle. So how can you be mindfully present? Being mindful and aware can be a chore, but through regular practice, it can become easier. There's a multitude of manuals on how you can become more mindful, but I have a few techniques today that I have found to be the most rewarding: active listening and grounding. You may have been accused before, like I have, of living with your head in the clouds, letting your imagination run away with you. Grounding techniques are intended to bring your mind back from this drifting state and return you to earth. When you're trapped in your head behind the bars of anticipation, anxiety, worry, or fear, grounding can bring you back to the present, relieving your tension. Some of these practices include meditation, journaling, and controlled breathing and mindful movement. Meditation can give us a moment of respite during our chaotic lives, returning us to our center and allowing our thoughts to exist without consuming us. Journaling can help us to understand and organize our thoughts while being an outlet without fear or judgment, and controlled breathing and mindful movement can calm our overactive minds by bringing us back to the present moment and the activity at hand. These practices don't have to be boring either. I find that dancing is a good way to practice controlled breathing and mindful movement. Many dances, particularly social and stage dances, require such breathing and movement, while also being fun. What's important is that you reconnect with yourself and your surroundings. Active listening is actually two important practices: listening to yourself and your body, and listening to other people. When you engage in active listening with yourself, you scan your body for physical feelings and sensations, not judging or lingering on such feelings, but analyzing, assessing, so that you may be more in tune with yourself. Call it system diagnostics for your meat mech. This is a form of meditation, and you may choose to do this while you meditate. However, you can do this at any time. By engaging in active listening to your body, you can become more aware of what your body needs or wants. This is also how you can achieve mindful eating, for example. This is also a great way to check in with your subconscious to see how you really feel about a situation before making any knee-jerk decisions. By using active listening with other people, you can improve your relationships with them as well as improving your memory. When speaking with others, many people aren't entirely listening. Most people are trying to think about what they want to say next and only partially listening, waiting for their turn to speak. But by practicing mindful presence, by actively listening to the person and thinking before responding, you can have a deeper and more meaningful conversation. An easy way to do this is to repeat some of the information back to them. By parroting back some of their own words, you prove not only that you are listening to them, but also that you understand them. This subconsciously brings people together. In addition, you can practice active listening by quizzing yourself about the conversation later. This not only helps your long-term memory of the event, but also gauges how well you are actively listening so you can improve more in the future. By being mindfully present, we gain the advantages that come with it: improved mental health, increased focus and attention, deeper relationships, and extra enjoyment. Your mind does not control you if you don't let it. By getting out of your own way, you may be able to enjoy the holiday season with the jovial joy of childlike cheer. The present is a present that we only enjoy through presence. If I had the mindful presence at 5 years old to not get caught up in the moment and chose different words when I asked what I got, if my mother had the mindful presence to stop and think before she blew up, or if my dad had had the mindful presence to recognize my mother needed psychological help sooner, any one of these things could have prevented the problem. By having a mindful presence, this could have been a merry memory rather than a Christmas time catastrophe. You may think Christmas time is for the kids, and it is. But we may all be more childlike in wonder by practicing mindful presence. By engaging in your life fully and grounding yourself in the now, may you enjoy all the blessings that this season brings. And may you spread your holiday cheer with others as they need it. And to those of you who are hurting, before you bah humbug this year, think about how you affect those around you. Remember, nobody has the right to steal joy from a child during the holidays, and we are all children of the universe. You have the power to control your presence and state of mind. Be kind, be thoughtful, be present. By being mindfully present, you can be the thoughtful gift you give your loved ones this year. And it doesn't cost you a cent, just your presence. Please join me in prayer. Spirit of love, heavenly guidance, divine dungeon master, celestial Santa Claus, we thank you for your presence with us today. Please continue to be with us and guide us on our adventures, and be with our parties into the morrow and beyond. Help us to be more present with our loved ones and in our everyday lives. May your loving presence guide us to merriment, and may your guiding light be with us always. Amen. And now, once again, I ask you to please stand as you are willing or able and join us in singing our final hymn in the Teal hymnal, number 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our heart stirs within, and feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of hope, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we hold in our hearts until we meet again.
Feel free to join me in the spell if you'd like. As you venture on, remember the great fact: you are loved and never truly alone.